Second, hopefully you saw that the presentations were available on the website in most cases. And if you're curious, we used our own technology to make that happen. So all the speakers, as we were planning DevCon, all the speakers belong to an Alfresco cloud site. And they use that to get the speaker template, and they use that to upload their presentations. And then we synchronize those into another Alfresco instance, and then we use Drupal CMS views to read those presentations out of Alfresco and show those on the DevCon website. So I think that's a cool example of how our technology can be used. So it's worked out great. Multiple people, so this comment gives me hope for humanity, which is that so multiple people have asked where they could find the playlist that we've been playing in between sessions and things like that. So that is on Spotify. You can go to Spotify and search for DevCon, and you'll find the playlist. If you don't find it, let me know or check Twitter. Okay, so that, I believe that is the announcements for now. I'll have someone in this room is going to win an iPad mini, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. So that's kind of exciting. All right. Oh, also, where did I have a big stack of books? There they are. So we have some hot off the press activity and action books from Taz Rademacher, and we will be giving those away. So the first 5 questions that I ask, the people that wrote those questions will get a copy of Activity in Action, courtesy of Manning Publications. All right, cool. So let's get on with it. So the first question, Alfresco started as a monolithic product. What they mean by that is everything ran in one WAR file, basically. And now Share can be run on a different node, and Solar can be run on a different node, and things are being separated out for scalability and things like that. So the question is Alfresco moving towards a more service-oriented architecture? Are there other, and I would add on to that, are there other systems that we see being split out anytime soon, and what would those be?
Services. Yes.
Okay.
Now,
you care to elaborate?
Well, so as part of future plans, we're already starting to break out some of the pieces. For the cloud, we needed to break out some of the transformation to make that more elastic, more scalable. And there's a lot more that we can do. And Peter Monks talked about, where's Peter? Oh, there you are. Looking down there, sea of black. No, so Peter talked about setting up all the extensions to Alfresco as out of process. And there's a lot more that we can do to make some of the processing more asynchronous, more elastic. And so I would say it's more of a long-term architectural change. Stuff like that doesn't happen overnight. But over the next few releases, we'll probably start to see stuff broken up into more services, and actually potentially for some of your on-premise implementations that you'll be able to use the cloud for, you know, maybe semantic analysis of components or whatever. But yeah, we will move toward that, but it's not necessarily going to be easy. I'm sure Spring helps a bit, but want to add anything to that, or?
No, so definitely that is the move. But actually, it's not going to be a fundamental architectural change because of the current Spring configuration and everything else. A lot of these things were basically replacing, you know, in-process things with stuff that is out of process. So what you're going to see is, you know, it looks monolithic now, but it doesn't have to be monolithic. And we're actually going to make it so that out of the box, it's not monolithic. It is actually more broken down services. And then you have the choice of how you deploy those services. So, but it is going to be an incremental change, yeah.
Thank you. And oh, did you want to add more to that, John?
No,
okay.
That's fine.
That question came from, is that Toon from Zenit? Is that how you say it? Do you want to come get your book? Please, I should rephrase. Come get your book. Okay, so thanks for the question. And I hope you like activity because you've got plenty to read up on your way home. It's over here. Sorry. All right. let's see. Oh, the next question is from David Stahl from the Hershey Company. He wants to know what is the difference between self-hosted clouds of Alfresco on AWS versus Alfresco.com's managed instance of Alfresco. And he would like you to keep your response to 60 words or less. So.
No, what was that very last part?
What is the difference between someone that would want to run Alfresco in the cloud on their own Amazon Web Services instance versus having us do it for them?
Okay, so us doing it for you is something that we're in the process of considering. So I won't say that it's actually going to happen. I am a big advocate of this happening to take away the IT burden from you, but somebody's got to take on that burden, and it's a pain in the ass burden as well. So I think we're looking at that. It's not a service that's available. It's something that we're experimenting with right now. So you can always do self-servicing, and I think the direction that we want to take is that the Amazon stack is one of these key certified stacks. So a stack that includes, Red Hat Linux and the RDS. Thank you very much. RDS, Tomcat. Just very simple stack, very straightforward stack will be one of the primary stacks that we support, and we can make that a whole lot easier for you to be able to provision. But for us to actually run it, if something goes down, restart it, do upgrades and stuff like that, that's something that's in the works. So the biggest difference is self is available now. The other one may or may not be available in the future.
But I think, the other...
Sorry, David wants to add to that.
Yeah.
So the difference between hosting it in the cloud yourselves and the public cloud is probably primarily around customization and out of the box. So for our integrations like Salesforce Connector, that will work out of the box to our public cloud, whereas if you had to configure it for your own things, that would require some development configuration. But the other thing as well is obviously customization. If you want to do custom models, custom workflows, all those kind of things, yes, we are looking at that for the public cloud over next year. We'll start making headways towards that, but you'll still need to have a enterprise version of Alfresco to do that. So that's probably the key thing.
So who's the person from Hershey?
David.
David.
Are you still?
Okay, all right.
Hello.
And was your question in relation to myalfresco.com or a provisions?
Do you want to sign it? He's referring to the SaaS.
Yeah, okay. So I misunderstood. You're asking about the SaaS service, which is, it's not, as David mentions, not as customizable. Yeah, yeah, sure. Big difference, yeah.
We never customize anything.
Okay.
All right, thanks for the question.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
Enjoy that. All right, great. So another question. This one comes from Russ. Do you need a copy of Activity in Action, Russ? Okay. Hey, that's nice, Russ. Always giving to the community. I like it. It's good. So Russ is wondering why we're shipping with Postgres and instead of MySQL, and do we see ourselves continuing to do that? And there was just some discussion, and he pointed out that a lot of people will just take what our sort of defaults are and run with that, when that may or may not be the best database for them to choose. And so you want to...
I think the change in the license of the driver to connect to MySQL, Oracle changed the license where it had been, it was LGPL, but also with the FOSS exception, and they just took that away. And we could go ahead and continue with it, but it just kind of left a lot of uncertainties in terms of what did that mean for our commercial license and all sorts of things, and that's why we went away from it. It's interesting. We spoke to Martin Mikos, and he said, "Run away from MySQL as fast as you possibly can," and and it's a good database, and that's what the cloud runs on, and it's we will still continue to support it, but there are issues around the licensing. That's why we did that, and Postgres is one that we can feel confident that when you install it as the default, you get started. We're not going to have license problems in the future with Postgres. That's why we chose that.
Okay. All right. The next question is about multi-tenancy. So the first question is there inbound email functionality that works with multi-tenant installations? Mark? Pass the...
No, email is not multi-tenant aware. You may get some functionality working. In particular, when you send into an email alias, when you send into an email alias, that may work, but it knows nothing about tenants. So possibly it will be a future enhancement, but it's not there at the moment.
Okay. The second part of the question is, or it's actually just another question about multi-tenancy, and it's about multi-tenancy and Drupal integration. So, and I guess really this is about CMIS and multi-tenancy, really.
What was the question? I forgot the question.
What? You don't have an answer? We're just passing the mic around?
No, it was so long ago, I've forgotten what the question was.
Can we get Drupal integration to work with a multi-tenant repo? That's the question.
In theory, it should do, because CMIS works with multi-tenancy. So I don't know whether anybody's tried it, but it certainly should work in theory.
Has anybody tried it? Okay. So, I mean, yeah, it's working in the cloud. Richard, yeah. Hey, can you, Rich, do you mind using a mic? And we've got one right here. Rich McKnight, in case you don't know, maintains the PHP CMIS API in Apache Chemistry, and also works on the Drupal module sometimes.
When I get round to it, but those round to it's are hard to find. The way the connector, the PHP client is written right now, it will not work because it doesn't handle multiple repositories on a single endpoint. So that's a limitation. Given that now that I know that multi-tenancy and the cloud have that, that's become a priority.
All right, cool.
I guess my question is, it sounds like you're saying like the client API doesn't understand tenancy.
So one of the things with CMIS is a single endpoint. When you look at an endpoint, like you can say get repositories, and it'll show you the list of repositories at that specific endpoint. The way that I originally wrote the client, it doesn't handle that because all of the Alfresco data, repositories that I worked with only had a single repository. There was one endpoint, one repository. That's a missing feature, and because of that missing feature, if you're hitting multi-tenancy, which has one endpoint but multiple repositories, it's not going to know how to handle it.
But aren't people successfully using the PHP CMIS API with the cloud today?
Unless somebody wrote an enhancement.
Where's Ian?
He's at the back.
Ian, what do you think about? You want to come up here real quick? And I don't want to get too down into the details on this one, but if it's too late, go ahead.
It works as a proof of concept. So and I'll have to catch up with Rich after this session.
Okay.
But yeah, certainly it authenticates properly, and then you can use the CMIS API and CMIS views, all works without any changes. Did have to make a couple of changes to Rich's wrapper,
all right.
but just small things for the header.
Sounds like Rich says it won't work, Ian says it works on my machine, so pretty typical. We'll work it out.
That's only as a proof of concept.
Okay, so that's definitely a follow-up. We should figure that out and then post something about it. All right, and that was from Randy from NXAR LLC. Oh, hi. Would you like a book? Please come get it. It's a good book. It's all about activity, and you'll like it. There you go. Thanks for your question. All right, let's take a couple. Are there any people in the audience that have that want to ask a question that haven't already turned one in? Russ?
So recently there was a blog posted on Alfresco. It was like reposted by Alfresco with ISIS. Did some really nice integration with Solar, showing faceted search inside Alfresco. And I didn't get to attend any of the sessions, many of the sessions anyway. So I wanted to
Russ,
know.
hold it closer to your.
I wanted to know if Alfresco plans on bringing some of those features in as core.
Like the faceted search within share feature.
Right.
Yeah. So what's the plan around that?
Yeah, so that piece of work, they've contributed to us. Oh, sorry. So that specific capability has been contributed. So we're working on integrating that now, so we'll expect that to be available in 4.2.
Okay, next question is again from David, and it says, will we be leveraging publish to make it, will we be making it easier to publish content where they want to publish content? So for example, it sounds like he wants to be able to do a search for documents, and then from that search result, select some and then say publish those out somewhere as just one example. So what kind of things are coming with publishing?
So I think the question is partly to do with enhancements to the search results. So at the moment, in order to trigger actions against items that are returned in search results, you need to kind of drill down to the details page and trigger the actions from there. So we're looking to, and this is not a commitment for 4.2, but hopefully we're going to be enriching the search results so that you'll be able to kind of perform actions on the search results, and that would include things like triggering, calling the publish action. So, think of all the actions you have in the document library. They would be available against documents that return from search results.
All right, good. All right, I think it's time to give away an iPad mini. And so this is courtesy of Zenit, and the way they did it was they had people guess how many documents they could import into the repository in 6 hours. And so whoever got closest to that won an iPad mini. And the answer was, and I'll explain this answer in a minute, but it's 1.6 million documents in 6 hours. So Ben Graham from the Miller Group, are you still here? Well, unfortunately, you have to be present to win. So looks like I just got myself a new iPad mini. No, we'll ship it. Zenit will ship it to Ben. So if you know Ben, make fun of him that he wasn't here to get his prize and get his picture taken and whatnot. And the reason why I said that I would explain it is because so in Berlin they did a similar contest. That was how long would it take to import 1 million documents, and I think it was 2.36 hours or something. 2.37, sorry. And of course, and then and now to do this one, that was all local, and now this one had to go over the network, and so that there was a little bit of a time difference there. But so anyway, 6 hours, 1.6 million documents imported into Alfresco. Actually, somebody had a question about what is the best way to import data into Alfresco, and that certainly sounds like one of them. Metadata. Okay, well, I would definitely plug CMIS as a good way to do that. You can use the API to write your own scripts to do that. There's also the bulk file system import tool, which is now actually part of the product, and it still exists as a separate community project. So you could look at that. Those would be two things that jump to mind. Does anybody else want to talk about importing metadata?
Well, I mean, this has come up many times, is that many of our partners have either a consulting solution or packages that do exactly that. So I guess, Zena, you've got one of those packages. I'm sure several of the partners out here, raise your hand if you've got an import solution with, for metadata as well. So quite a few. There's quite a few of them out there, and some of them are based upon CMIS, and CMIS is a great way to build those things, but to have the package to do it certainly saves a lot of time and energy.
So does that answer your question or give you some things to look for? Okay. All right. Where's the mic? A new question. Great. Paul, can we interrupt your...
Let's pay attention here.
So every once in a while, folks go on vacation and take time off, and we need to have delegates for some of these tasks that they've been assigned. Is there any plan or horizon thing for Share to have a delegate attribute or aspect attachable to folders or documents or whatever?
Yoram, do you want to? He's hiding out.
Yeah. So it's the activity API has it, like I told you, but but I also told him to put pressure on Mike or Paul to get it done because it's not in the UI yet. So the API is there, it's possible, the queries are there, but it's a matter of prioritizing the UI to have a delegate button there. I'm not talking about tasks specifically, not about folders and documents, but for tasks, that stuff is all there, but we need some button or some UI for that. So Mike?
I understand that the standard answer from product management is it's on the roadmap.
Yeah. So, but we hear that a lot, like just in general, or yeah, but it doesn't include like delegates. What they mean is like you have a task, somebody's sick or yeah.
What's happening right now?
I don't know.
Are you? I'm failing as a moderator. I feel like.
So we're having a dialogue on a very high abstract level.
Do you want to say what? Because not everyone.
Delegation sounds like a great feature.
It's a good feature. And Kickstart. Do you want to just mention the goal of
Kickstart? The goal is to have workflows in a matter of minutes instead of weeks. Yeah, defining it now is very hard. It's not hard. It's a lot of work. Simply, it's boring work. And with Kickstart, which is not an official name, so I can't say it too much, Paul, sorry. But yeah, it's just fixing that and having it much easier. But it's not related anyway to delegation. Delegation is completely separate from that. So, yeah. As always, it's open source. You can always contribute it, etc.
All right, good. Several people have asked me in the hallway where DevCon will be next year. And we're not going to tell you that right now, but but I do want to say that we are interested in broadening the conference to make it more than just a DevCon and really just make it the Alfresco conference. Can I hear just by a round of applause whether you guys think that's a good idea? Right. Good. I can't wait to see how that conference turns out. I'm going to attend it, go to some sessions. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, so no, I think it's good. I mean, I think we want to maintain the technical content and all the great stuff that you guys have seen and participated in, and just add to that. So don't worry that, I mean, we'll still have beers and listen to cool music and have hackathons and have great sessions, but we just we want to bring the rest of the community into the conference, basically.
Do we need to wear a suit then?
No suits, no, definitely not. Yeah.
Is there any plan to do more hackathons? You can re-speak.
Yeah, I mean, how many people participated in the hackathon this week? So we had roughly 30 people, or 20 to 30 people in the hackathon, and we had about the same number do that in Berlin. And it was an all-day event where people were just churning out code. And those projects that were created are all open source projects. And Nathan McMinn, you keep an eye on his blog, and there he is over there. That's not his blog, that's actually him. keep an eye on Nathan, and he will be posting the links to all those projects. So if you didn't get a chance to hack in person, you can hack on those projects remotely and contribute code. So yeah, I think Russ, to answer your question, I think it went very well. And I think Nathan actually did a lightning talk today on how to host a hackathon, which is cool. And so I think we'll see more of those. And people shouldn't wait for us to do that. People should be organizing that and making that happen. So how many people, speaking of lightning talks, how many people went to a lightning talk while they were here? Almost everybody. That's incredible. And by a round of applause, should we do more lightning talks? Okay. All right, very good. Well, I thought it was cool. I think it's really cool. So let's see. Here's another question. It's from Tobias. It says, when can desktop sync be expected?
When it's ready.
When it's ready. Okay.
And no, the reason is quite simple. This is our first desktop application, and we all know that desktops are just wide, varied, different beasts. Everyone's desktop is different, so it is a very different beast from the point of view QA and supportability and serviceability. So basically, the reason we're going to put it out and let it sort of what's a nice way of putting it? Mature and season out in the wild. It is basically just so we can capture all the sort of the nasty edge cases, because desktop sync, it's got to work. It's got to work first time. It's got to work every time. We've got to get it right. So we're going to put out. We've got a version out now, which is a preview one. We're going to be doing another version within a few weeks, and then sort of 2 or 3 versions after that, and then we'll be looking to sort of make sure that's sort of fully productized. And probably in about the sort of same time frame that we're talking about Enterprise 4.2, so the first quarter next year, it will be out there and it'll be fully supported. But the reason we're taking our time over it is desktop is a very different world from the sort of server in the data center. Okay.
We were mentioning blogs a minute ago. I just want to make sure everyone knows about blogs.alfresco.com. What that is an aggregation of all of these guys' blogs, plus partner blogs, plus community blogs. So if you just want to have one RSS feed of all the things going on in the Alfresco community, you can go to blogs.alfresco.com. And if you write a blog about Alfresco and you're not listed, it's pretty easy to get listed. Just send me or Chris Vitti, or just send a note to webmaster@alfresco.com and we'll get your blog added. So I'm just thinking of that several of you might want to write some recaps of how awesome this conference was. Put that on your blog, and then we'd love to have that in the aggregator. So go check out blogs.alfresco.com. Another thing that's happening in the community is we're doing a forums refresh. And so today we're on PHPBB. We're moving from PHPBB to Drupal. So we'll have Drupal-based forums. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to be able to have tags on forum posts so people can say what that forum post is about. We want to be able to say, to tag forum posts with specific versions. We're also merging all of the local language forums into one forum. So now if you're blogging, or if you're participating in the forums in German and English, you don't have to have 2 separate logins. You can just log in once, change the drop down to your preferred language, and you'll see the forum post written in that language. So this should be happening sometime in December is when we'll go live. We're going to maintain all the data, I know we all reference forum threads, and all those URLs will still work after the migration. And so look forward to new forums with a new look and feel and new functionality. All right, are there any other questions from the audience? Okay, well, let's not delay the close any longer, as much as we'd like to hang out and have ice cream. And I almost said have a few beers, but after last night, I think ice water will be fine. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the conference. I've certainly enjoyed getting to know several of you, and we look forward to doing this again next year. So thank you very much.